Hello, everybody. Let's start our webinar. So before we will start, please, on the left side of the screen, you could see a chart. Please let me know if you could hear me well. And we will start our today's webinar. Okay, so you hear me well. Perfect. Thank you very much. So let's start. My name is Katerina Bisaga. I'm Assistant Compliance Officer of Eltoma Corporate Services, and today our topic will be Anti-Bribery Compliance. So, what is the main outlines of our today's webinars? We will discuss what is the purpose of compliance, the different types and reasons which stay behind the bribes. We will see what internal legislation available on anti-bribery compliance. We will discuss the impact and differences of UKBA and the FCPA. Also, we will point out some main points of ISO and its main objectives. Also, we will discuss how to build anti-bribery compliance in the company, governance body's duties, top management duties, in general, what are anti-bribery compliance functions, what is suspicious reporting, in what situations it must be completed, and the tipping off procedure. Okay, so let's go further. What is compliance? In general, compliance means conforming to a rule such as a specification, policy, standard, or law. It's a situation when you as a person or company as a legal entity are complying with legal rules. Regulatory compliance describes the goal that organizations aspire to achieve in their efforts to ensure that they are aware of and take steps to comply with relevant laws, policies, and regulations. A little bit of background. I think you know that bribery is one of the world's most destructive and challenging issues. Near over $1 trillion paid in bribes each year, so the consequences are really catastrophic. ISO has developed a new standard to help organizations fight bribery and promote an ethical business culture. And now we have new ISO 37001 standard on anti-bribery management system that was published in October 2016 and quickly became one of the most effective tools. Also, one of the points is that CIS region, such countries as Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, Kazakhstan, in general has very poor overall ranking on anti-corruption compliance, and it is virtual for companies operating to identify and mitigate their exposure to corruption risk as well as implement effective internal controls. So what types of bribery present in our world? So first of all is bribery in public, private and non-profit sectors. Also, bribery is present in any organization. Bribery could be present in government and non-government authorities. Also, bribery could be direct or indirect. The same situation when bribery could be present in the organization with business associates in order to push some company to agree or disagree with some agreements, contracts, clients, and so on. So, what is bribery? The definition is bribery is simple. It's offering, promising, giving, accepting, or soliciting of an undue advantage of any value, which could be financial or non-financial, directly or indirectly, and irrespective of locations, in violation of applicable laws as an endorsement of reward for a person acting or refraining from acting in relation to the performance of that person's duties. As you may see here on the screen, this is a map It's represented by Transparency International, international non-government organization. And this year's Corruption Perceptions Index highlights that the majority of countries are making little or not progress in ending corruption, while further analysis shows journalists and activities in corrupt countries risking their lives every day in an effort to speak out. The index, which ranks 180 countries and territories by their perceived levels of public sector corruption, according to experts and business people, uses a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is highly corrupt and 100 is very clean. This year, the index found that more than two-thirds of countries score below 50, with an average score of 43. So, unfortunately, compared to recent years, this poor performance is nothing new. So, on the screen, if a country is more red, has more red color, it means that she's mostly corrupted. If the color not like orange or yellow, it means that this country is less corrupt. As you may see, a light yellow color is not present on this map, unfortunately. Now let's move to our next section. Let's discuss what international legislation available in this sphere. So first one which we should mention is United Nations Convention Against Corruption. It is a multilateral treaty negotiated by member states of the United Nations and promoted by the UN Office of Drugs and Crimes. It is one of several legal binding international anti-corruption agreements. This convention requires states parties to the treaty to implement several anti-corruption measures that focus on 5 main areas. It's prevention, law enforcement, international cooperation, asset recovery, and technical assistance and information exchange. Next, very important law is United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crimes and the Protocols. It's in force from 2000, from the year 2000, and it's a United Nations sponsored multilateral treaty against transnational organized crime, and this convention also known as Palermo Convention. Next one is the United Nations Declaration Against Corruption and Bribery in International Commercial Transactions. It's in force it's in force from 1996, and usually big organizations use this convention as the Bible for their own in order to deal with international clients. And the last one is Oesd Anti-Bribery Convention. Officially, it's known as Convention on Combating Bribery of Foreign Public Officials in International Business Transactions. This convention aimed at reducing corruption in developing countries by encouraging sanctions against bribery in international business transactions carried out by companies based in the convention members countries. Its goal is to create a truly level playing field in today's international business environment. The convention requires adherents to criminalize acts of offering or giving bribe, but do not soliciting or receiving bribes. So let's move to the next part. Now we will discuss the issue and the influence of 2 main transnational acts, is FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, and UK Bribery Act. So the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, dated 1977 in the United States, is United States federal law known primarily for 2 of its main provisions. One that addresses accounting transparency requirements under the Securities Exchange Act, and another concerning bribery of foreign officials. The act was amended in 1988 and in 1998. As of 2012, there were continued congressional concerns. An ongoing debate asks whether FCPA enforcement discourage US companies from investing abroad. The Bribery Act, it's dated to 2010, is an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom that covers the criminal law relating to the bribery. Introduced to the Parliament in Queen's Speech in 2009, after several decades of reports and draft bills, the Act received the royal assent on 8th of April 2010 following cross-party support, and now it's totally the Act repeals all previous statutory and common law provisions in relation to bribery, instead replacing them with the crimes of bribery, being bribed, the bribery of foreign public officials, and the failure of a commercial organization to prevent bribery on its behalf. Also on the screen, you may see the difference between two acts. So if FCPA applies to corruption offences exclusively with a foreign element, the same has UK Bribery Act. Also, you may see that there is a difference with criminal liability. So if FCPA has criminal civil liability and other measures, and up to 5 years of imprisonment, and fines could be put to individuals, and the maximum fine according to FCPA doubles the amount of the benefit received. The UK Bribery Act, yes, also has criminal civil liability and other measures, and up to 10 years of imprisonment and fines for individuals, and unlimited fine for legal entity. Also, the main difference is that FCPA noted that bribery is not an offense under this act. It covers only cases of giving bribe to foreign officials, and it does not cover commercial bribery, like private to private bribery. On the other hand, UK Bribery Act covers questions about giving bribe and taking bribes, giving a bribe to a foreign official, and also covers commercial bribery, like private to private, which FCPA didn't. Also, now on the screen you may see other differences between the acts. The main point which I would like to mention, that FCPA, under the FCPA, foreign companies, non-residents of the United States who carry out any activities, conduct business, or in any way are related to US and use it for corruption purposes are covered by FCPA, and US authorities may start their investigation about such cases. And UK Bribery Act mentions that any other companies and individuals engage in corrupt activities in the UK, regardless of their residence. Here we have another situation, that UKBA covers only those issues which connected directly with UK citizens. Next slide. Also, here are some other differences between these two acts. As you may see on your screen, FCPA acts carried out outside the United States by issuer or local enterprises. This act is covered this issue, and UKBA acts carried out outside the territory of Great Britain by persons who have a close connection with it. Also, FCPA covers such people like, in all cases, also any official, directors, employees, or representatives of the issuer, local enterprise, or shareholder acting on behalf of the issuer of local enterprise will be liable under FCPA. On the other hand, if we will relate to UK Bribery Act, only top management of companies who involved in corrupt activities, except their liability for failure to prevent corruption activities, will be liable under UKBA Act. So now we will speak about what is ISO 37001. It is a standard which was developed by ISO Technical Committee chaired by lawyer Neil Stansbury and published for the first time in October 2016. The standard was based upon existing guidelines from the International Chamber of Commerce, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and Transparency International, and other organizations. The standard also incorporated the guidelines issued by leading international regulators such as the US Department of Justice, US Securities and Exchange Commission, and UK Ministry of Justice. The standard was adopted by the governments of Singapore and Peru for their anti-bribery management systems and formed the basis for the main standards. An official anti-bribery standard published by the city of Shenzhen, China. Also, Microsoft and Walmart implement this policy to their own internal policy of anti-bribery compliance. And now it's become more and more popular to adopt this policy in every company. It doesn't matter what is the size of such company. Anyway, you should implement this ISO 37001, which will help you to build your own compliance anti-bribery system in the company. So, anti-bribery management system specifies a series of measures to help organizations prevent, detect, and address bribery. It includes adopting of an anti-bribery policy, appoint a person to oversee anti-bribery compliance, training of the staff, risk assessment and due diligence on projects and business associates, implementing financial and commercial controls, and instituting reporting and investigation procedures as well. ICO does not specifically address fraud, cartels, and other antitrust competition offenses, money laundering, or other activities related to corrupt parties, although organization can choose to extend the scope of the management system to include such activities. How to build anti-bribery compliance. The main task of implementing compliance can be established in front of departments or employees who are responsible for servicing the daily activities of the company. Compliance is included in the scope of the task of a separate compliance control unit or specialist. So you may implement duties of anti-bribery compliance to the compliance department if you have such, or to the person who is responsible for compliance in your company, or to any other staff who is on top management or has position in middle management, who could carry out all the stuff and all the information that exists in the company and could actively proceed with all inquiries regarding proposed bribery or intent to propose a bribery. So how to build anti-bribery compliance in company step by step. First of all, you must understand the needs and expectations of shareholders, the shareholders that are relevant to anti-bribery management system, and the relevant requirements of this stakeholders and stakeholders. So first of all, the shareholders of the company must understand this policy and must understand why this policy should apply to their company. Next one is determine the scope of anti-bribery management system. The organization shall determine the boundaries and applicability of the anti-bribery management system to establish its scope. Again, it depends from company to company, and it depends on the field where the company has its business activity. Next one is anti-bribery management system. The organization shall establish, document, implement, maintain, and continually review it, and where necessary improve an anti-bribery management system, including the process needed and their interaction in accordance with the requirements of this document. And bribery risk assessment. Bribery risk assessment includes identify the bribery risk the organization might reasonably anticipate, analyze, assess, and prioritize the identified bribery risks, evaluate the suitability and effectiveness of the organization's existing controls to mitigate the assessed bribery risks. Next one is ensure the compliance function has independent authority. Assign responsibility for anti-corruption compliance to senior level representatives who have independence, authority, and adequate resources. Cross-functional teams are the best practice. Next is do your due diligence. It means that you should check your business partners before entering into a formal relationship with them. A reported 60% of recent FCPA enforcement actions have involved third parties. And document business partner relationships carefully. Spell out the services to be performed and payment terms for partnerships. At a minimum, provisions should be included for compliance reps and warranties, and the right to terminate in the event of a corruption event. Also, you should not forget about train and communicate. You should regularly train all your employees and provide specialized training for employees in high-risk markets or business units. Require that high-risk business partners receive trainings as well. In addition to training, consistently communicate both internally and externally the importance of compliance. Monitor your program and partners. Regularly monitor your program and the performance of your employees and business partners. And do not forget to enforce and improve. Perform through timely investigations where problems arise and ensure that sanctions for specific violation are timely and appropriate. At the program level, take corrective action to fill gaps so that problems do not recur, and to update and improve the program as necessary. Now we will discuss the duties of governing body and managements. So what are the duties of government bodies? First of all, it's approving the organization's anti-bribery policy. Then ensure that the organization's strategy and anti-bribery policy are elegant. Planned intervals receiving and reviewing information about the content and operation of the organization's anti-bribery management system. Requiring that adequate and appropriate resources needed for effective operation of the anti-bribery management system are allocated and assigned. Exercise reasonable oversight over the implementation of the organization's anti-bribery management system by top management and its effectiveness. Please note that these activities shall be carried out by top management if organization does not have a government body. And now, what the top management duties? Top management duties is to ensure that the anti-bribery management system, including policy and objectives, is established, implemented, maintained, and reviewed to adequately address the organization's bribery risks, ensuring the integration of the anti-bribery management system requirements into the organization process, deploying adequate and appropriate resources for the effective operation of the anti-bribery management system, communicating internally and externally regarding the anti-bribery policy, communicating internally the importance of the effective anti-bribery management and of conforming the anti-bribery management system requirements, ensuring that the anti-bribery management system is appropriately designed to achieve its objectives, directing and supporting personnel to contribute to the effectiveness of the anti-bribery management system, promoting an appropriate anti-bribery culture within the organization, and promoting continual improvements. Roles and responsibilities which should be taken by the top management are next. Top management shall have overall responsibility for the implementation of and compliance with the anti-bribery management system. Managers at every level shall be responsible for requiring that the anti-bribery management system requirements are applied and complied with in their department of or function shall ensure that their responsibilities and authorities for relevant role are assigned and communicated within and throughout every level of organization, and the government body, if any present, top management, and all other personnel shall be responsible for understanding, complying with, and applying the anti-bribery management system requirements as they relate to their role in the organization. Also, a top management must establish an anti-bribery policy that prohibits bribery, requires compliance with anti-bribery laws that are applicable to the organization, is appropriate to the purpose of the organization, provides a framework for setting, reviewing, and achieving anti-bribery objectives, includes commitment to satisfy anti-bribery management system requirements, encourage raising concerns in good faith or on the basis of reasonable belief in confidence without fear or reprisal, includes a commitment to continual improvement of the anti-bribery management system, explains the authority and independence of the anti-bribery compliance function, and explains the consequences of not complying with the anti-bribery policy. Let's move to the next slide. And top management also shall assign to an anti-bribery compliance function the authority for overseeing the design and implementation by the organization of the anti-bribery management system, ensuring that the anti-bribery management system conforms to the requirements of this document, providing advice and guidelines to personnel, to the staff on the anti-bribery management system and issue relating to the briberies, and last but not the least, reporting on the performance of the anti-bribery management system to the government body, if such present in this country, and top management and other compliance functions as appropriate. Anti-bribery compliance is functions that should be, first of all, adequately researched and assigned to persons who have the appropriate competence, status, authority, and independence, and who understand the whole responsibility of such position. Anti-bribery compliance function shall have direct and prompt access to the government body or to the top management in the event that any issue or concern needs to be raised in relation to bribery or the anti-bribery management system. Or you may use another way if you have compliance department or compliance officer, so people may go directly to the compliance officer and he will try to resolve the problem which arises and put the marked comments to the governing body or top management about anti-bribery issues that arrive that has place in the company. So how in total, you on your screen you may see the theme how anti-bribery compliance could work in any company. First of all, it must be leadership commitment. These measures tone at the top. So first of all, director, stakeholders of the company must be interested in this sphere. They must be interested in anti-bribery compliance, and they must understand why their company or the staff of the company should have such policy and why company should be protected of briberies. Next step is risk assessment, conducting prior risk assessment. Each company must have their own risk assessment to understand what risks of bribery are present in their field. Next one is standard and controls, development of required tools, controls, and procedures. It means that every company should implement their own policy of anti-bribery, which will include some fines, the procedure of reporting of potential bribery, and other. Next one is training and communication messages to all concerned. At least once per year, you should do small training for your staff about bribery, about money laundering, about terrorist financing. So the people must know that these three main offenses now present in everyday life of each company, and they must understand that if they face such offenses, they must report their suspicions to the compliance officer or to the top management. And the last one is oversight, ensuring that monitoring process is in place. It means that there must be a person who will be responsible for all this policy, and to whom any staff from the company could come and tell, look, we have a problem, I have a suspicion that this partner or this client want to give us a bribe, because in order that we could choose his firm to provide us some services. So this is a simple scheme how to build anti-bribery compliance in any organization. Please note that when there is suspicious within the company that a staff member of a client is involved in illegal activity such as bribery, then this indication should be reported to the senior management of the company, because otherwise, if you know about this but not report, you may also involved and be liable that you do not report directly to the senior management about the offense that took place in your company. So be aware of this. Tipping off. When you made a report to your senior management, you should not tell to your colleague or to the client or to anybody except your direct senior management that you know something about that the bribery took place, or or to tell that you reported it to the senior management, because it's also an offense. So tipping off is a process when a person discloses information to third parties for suspicions related to money laundering or terrorist financing or bribery that have already been reported to the responsible authority, or makes a disclosure which may impede or produce the interaction and investigation carried out in respect of prescribed offenses. So at any time, if you make any report, please do not tell anybody that you know that it happens or you know that it was reported. It will protect yourself. Okay, so deliverables. The main point is that the presence of compliance department or officer must be present in the company. If company has code of ethics or code of conduct or ABC policy, it's a plus for the company, because any staff know what they need to do in different situations, and also it could be it's like a Bible of a company. So if something happened wrong, you may tell to your colleagues, to the staff, to the employees that, look, we have our code and please follow this code, follow the instructions in this code. And the staff always know if they are in a situation when they don't know what to do, they could use this code in order to see what next actions they need to do. Also, company should have a gift management policy, especially if you deal with some government authorities. You should have this definitely. Please do not forget about supplier due diligence. When you start into any business with any new potential client, please provide at least simple due diligence. Check the information through the internet, check the information through some feedbacks from other clients, and so on. Vendor monitoring, cash transactions monitoring policy. If your company deal mainly with cash, you also should have cash policy in order to ensure that that money are not going for bribery. monitoring hotline, etc., or like anonymously email where the employees could contact the person to report any suspicious, to report their thoughts, to report any problem that they have. So if your company has any hotline or email which is anonymously, it's good. It means that your employees will feel themselves free to explain and to tell something that I could not tell personally to somebody. And also the presence of ethics or audit committee, it also will be the plus for the company. Also, I want to mention that since 2004, Eltoma Corporate Services has maintained a competitive position in the corporate market. We have office locations in Cyprus, Singapore, Russia, Ukraine, and Hong Kong. So if you're interested in our services, please note that the scope of our services is really big. We provide company incorporation, maintenance, banking, finance, bookkeeping, accounting, tax planning, IT, software for business, legal services, immigration, external compliance, licensings, and permits. As for compliance, we provide AML compliance services with our main focus within Singapore, Hong Kong, and UK compliance related areas. So if you're interested in it, please use our website for more information. Also, we deal with recruitment, external and internal. So we support employees within the Cyprus market to select the best person in the correct position. More information you also may find in our website. And also we're dealing with property. In Cyprus, we have a number of unique properties on our market in Cyprus for investment opportunities. And if you're still interested in it, please visit our website. On the screen now you may see our contact information in different countries. We have offices in Cyprus, Singapore. In Russia we have 2 offices, is in St. Petersburg and Moscow. In Ukraine we have office in Kiev, and also we have telephone lines in United Kingdom and Hong Kong. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions after the end of this webinar, you will see the link, so you may ask any questions that you have relating to this webinar. Have a good day ahead. Thank you very much and see you soon.